You're holding back what you really feel or need, even though it's stealing your happiness, your joy, and your peace. You stay quiet to avoid conflict and protect others, but it's wearing you down more than you realize. You wonder why you feel misunderstood or distant, and that silence inside of you is part of the reason why. There are many times in our life when we're having conversations with anyone, and the problem is that you don't really want to open up. You don't really want to speak about what is on your mind. And that's a problem, not just for you, but for the other person. That avoids real connection. Now, that's not to say it's a weakness, because holding back isn't a weakness. It's just something that you've learned to keep yourself safe in order to avoid things from falling apart or getting worse. You're used to the circumstances and situations where what you say hurts others, or it causes conflict, or even worse, it makes others hurt you. So you hide your true self. You stop showing up for yourself. You stop being the person that you really want to be, the inner spark that is trying to ignite and flame and let everyone see how bright you are. That silence inside of you feels heavy because you're carrying feelings and needs that aren't being seen or heard. Every time you hold back is another moment in life where you are denying your true self. When you don't speak your truth, it piles up inside. It what causes and turns into stress, frustration, and loneliness. And then you're left at the end of the day wondering why you feel this way. When it's because of that. It's because of those moments that build up and turn into emotion because they were never thought. They were never expressed, so they must be expressed in another way. Maybe you fear speaking because it will hurt someone or cause rejection, so you stay quiet instead. About 2 weeks ago, I was in a car ride with my father, and this is something that I have had an issue with up until a certain point in life, and I'm still, even now, working through it. But I've gotten better, of course. We were driving in the city, and we passed one of the workplace that my ex works at. And I had all these memories of how fond we used to be with each other, how the connection was when we had each other in our life. And unfortunately, that's no longer the case. Those are just memories. Those are things that I will always hold dear. But in that moment, I could have used that expression of my inner thought to express it to my father. And I sat in the car while he was driving, and we got to a light, a red light. And I thought to myself, should I bring it up? Does he even care? Is there a reason that I should be bringing this up? There's no reason to tell my father about my ex, or even the fact that I'm having thoughts about my ex. Not like I miss her, but just like, wow, we had great memories together, and that was a place that she worked at. In that moment, I decided, and I said yes to myself. I told my father about it. I said, hey, we just passed by my ex's workplace, and it reminds me of this, and that. And it was an incredible, beautiful moment. Not only because I opened up about my inner dialogue, but because of that specific thought, that specific time that I decided to bring up. We had a 2-hour conversation on women, on relationships, on dynamics, on everything in between and outward. And it was only because I decided to finally open up about my thoughts, myself, what I'm thinking. And that's when real connection starts. Not just with someone you trust, but in general. What you say, what you bring is important because it creates opportunity for connection. Now, what I used to do before was think about certain things, or anything really, and just keep it to myself. I like to think that I'm an introvert. Not that I like to think, I am an introvert. So it's very hard for me to express myself and be like, oh yeah, like, yo, this happened, that happened. Oh man, I'm thinking about this right now. So I had to train myself or relearn the patterns that came from old beliefs, that it's okay to talk. It's okay to speak what's on your mind. Now, not everything needs to be spoken or talked about that's on your mind, but if you feel connected to it through emotion or through a memory, a relic of the past, something that you cling on to in the future that you want to uphold, it's important for you to speak about it. Now, your voice does not matter, is what I used to tell myself. I had to put others first, is another thought that I told myself. These are certain things that hindered my own growth, not just for me, but for the people that I loved, the people that I wanted to create connections with. I had to start to notice when I was holding back, not judgment, just out of awareness. And that took me a while, not because I wasn't aware, because of the way I think, but because I would punish myself for thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't think about it or say this at that moment. Let's say, for example, with my father. Let's say I didn't bring up my thoughts or I didn't express myself in the car and we didn't have a real connected moment. And I think about it later that day in the night when I'm overthinking or when I'm reminded of the day that I had. Dang, why didn't I do this? I should have opened up. That is punishing myself. That is criticizing and hurting myself for not knowing better, for not trying to be better. And that's a negative outlook. That's a negative pattern. That's something that I learned to do through my parents and through the way that I lived my childhood. Because my childhood was overly critical, hyper individualized, and other aspects to it, I instilled those traits and talked bad to myself. Instead of bettering myself throughout my childhood, I had all of these negative outlooks and opinions that were ingrained into me. But because I'm empathic, but because I love people and I don't want to hurt anybody, I didn't express them in the same way that I was expressed to me. I expressed them to myself instead of outward the way they were. And that's a problem. That's a pattern. It's hard to get over it. It's hard to get past it. But just by being aware with no judgment, no criticizing, and no punishment for what you're doing, it's okay. The past is the past. The day is over. Just try to be better next time. You want to ask yourself in these situations, when you're having the thoughts, should I say something? Or I'm thinking about this. Ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I say what's on my mind? As an adult, we hinder ourselves because we think that the other person won't care. But do you care? That's what's important. If you care, then it's important for you to bring it up. It could be as simple as saying, hey, I'm really in the mood for pie today. Or dang, this whole week I've been thinking about going to this one spot and da-da-da-da. That opens up connection, even if it is small. Even if you just say, hey, I'm not really feeling happy today. The right people ask you the right questions. People want to know because it creates connection, and everyone wants connection. You want to begin in small steps. Share a feeling, a thought, or a need with someone you trust. If you can't express it with people that you know, family is probably the closest thing that you have to express yourself without judgment, without criticizing, and without avoiding yourself. Whoever you call family is up to you. It's not by blood. It's by there who's there. It's by people who are there. Remember this, your voice matters. Speaking up is a way to respect your worth, because you have worth. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but that's okay, because growth lives in that discomfort. It lives in the moments when you don't know if you should be doing something, that uneasiness, that unsettling that you have inside your inner voice, your inner thought, your inner dialogue. Every time you share your truth, you lighten the load, the weight that you carry. Because again, your thoughts that aren't expressed become emotions, and then you hold on to those emotions, and that may become a deeper thing, like depression. But at the end of it all, it's loneliness, it's frustration, it's sadness. And then what do? You use vices to fill the hole, because you don't have connection. You don't create connection. The healthiest people don't have vices because the connection is what is the craving. It's not the fact that you like to do these things. It's because you're filling a hole or a void, or creating your own prison because you don't think that you have the key to it. When you do, you are your reality. You create your world. You create your friends. You create the people that you talk to. It starts by opening up. It starts by being honest with yourself, by expressing the emotion, by expressing the need, by expressing the thought. So start small. When someone shares what they say or what they like, don't just agree out of reflex. And don't deny your feelings about it either. Be true to yourself, and people will love you for it. Say what's really on your mind, and it's okay if you can't do it every single time. If you only do it one time out of 100, that's more than anything. You're giving back to yourself. You're giving back to others. And what matters is that you keep showing up for yourself. Every time you speak your truth, even in small ways, that chest, that heavy feeling in your chest, that aching in your back that you can't get rid of, lightens. You clear away. You stop from overthinking. You stop from procrastinating. It all starts with your mind, and it starts small. You can't punish yourself or hurt yourself for trying to make a big leap when you never even threw the first stone. When you do this, you take one more step closer to real happiness. Thank you for being here. My name is Augustin, and this is Just Before Clarity.